Hey, Shalom Yashala. As always, I'm going to begin by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakwa Kodash. I'm going to also say double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and salutations to all of the sincere Akim worldwide pushing this truth in sincerity. In this particular sit down, what I'm really going to get into is the fact that in these common times, man, in these testing times that we're about to come into, we all got a Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Ra'azah, endure unto the end and keep the faith. Because ultimately speaking, yeah, you gotta understand that, man, we're gonna come into some real testing times, man. Brothers' faith levels are really gonna get tested, and it's important that we maintain in the doctrine, maintaining what we've been taught, maintaining the faith of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Hey, man, I'm gonna start with Proverbs 3 and 5. It says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. Because the only way we're going to make it out of this is really a real heavy level of spiritual intervention, yeah, which Yahweh Shimon Hawashai, ultimately speaking, is gonna provide, man, for brothers that are enduring unto the end, brothers that stick strong to the faith, brothers that fight unto the end, yeah. Yahweh Shimon Hawashai is gonna direct our steps, man, but only if we put our trust in him. One of the major things Yahweh spoke about when he was on the scene, he scolded the apostles for it at times, and ultimately all of Israel. He called Israel at that time a faithless generation, man. You know, he scolded Peter for the fact that Simon Peter didn't always necessarily have faith. Peter showed some great elements of faith when, you know, you had the instance when Yahweh asked him, who do you say that I am? And then Peter answered him, man, you are the son of the living power. Yahweh, you know, commended him and said, yeah, you know, blessed are ye, Simon by Jonah. For flesh and blood have not revealed this unto you, by my Father which is in heaven. You know, you also then had moments where Peter's faith lacked, you know, in regards to denying Yahweh 3 times. You had the moment when he was walking on the water to meet the Lord, and then he began to lose faith and began to sink into the water. You know, the men of the Lord had their weak moments also, man. All of the great men of the scriptures did. Even Yahweh at certain points, man, although he finished the course, of course, because, you know, he is Yahweh the only begotten of the Father, you know. But even Yahweh at times, man, you know, he had to go and on fast, he had to pray, you know. In the Garden of Gethsemane, he prayed to the point where he was sweating blood, you know, because he had the pressure of, you know, dying for the whole nation of Israel on his back, man. But he still maintained, man. He still fought, man. And through his tribulation, he was made pure, you know, as the scripture saith. So, ultimately speaking, brothers, we're gonna go through some real rough times, man. We're gonna go through some testing times, but you gotta have that same attitude that Yahweh Shai and other great men, you know, in the scriptures had, you know, men that we're supposed to look up to, man, ultimately as examples unto us, men with great faith. You know, you read up in Hebrews the 11th chapter, and it goes all into faith, man. You know, faith is a vital ingredient, man. And no man that ever had faith in Yahweh Shai ultimately was ever left, you know, left for lack of better words, you know, without any salvation. So, you know, I'm going to read Romans the 12th chapter, starting from verse 1. Yeah, these are the words of the Apostle Paul. And he wrote unto the Romans. Now, the Romans he was writing to were Israelites within Rome. Because you got to understand, Rome being in Italy, yeah, the Roman Empire had a lot of Israelites up in there, man. As servants, soldiers in the, you know, in their wars, you know, slaves, like I mentioned. You know, Israelites would travel also. So you got to understand, there were a lot of Israelites scattered around, man. Paul's mission was to go to those Israelites scattered around and ultimately help them to establish the basic fact that they were the Israelites of the scriptures, and really to help them also get the building blocks, maintain a basic level of faith. Now, Paul said in his epistle in Romans the 12th chapter, I beseech you therefore, brethren, meaning I beg you, by the mercies of the Most High, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice. Now, what did Paul mean by present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service? Basically, hey man, to reword that, our bodies are literally borrowed vessels, man. Yahweh Shai has literally created our spirit and housed it in a borrowed vessel, man, which is this body, this flesh, which ultimately returns onto the dust that it came from, and the spirit back onto the Father. So really, when we're nothing but rented, we're doing nothing more than really renting our bodies, man. We are the possession of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and therefore is our rightful service as the creature created by the Creator to do what He made us to do. You know, like it says in Romans the 9th chapter, shall the thing formed say to Him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? You can't look at the Lord and question His reasoning. You just got to do what you was created to do. And as Israelites, we were created to glorify Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. You know, so ultimately that's what we got to do, man. Even if the world is against that, and really the world is against the glorification of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. This world is about the glorification of wickedness, the glorification of mammon, folly. But hey, man, the scripture says it's our reasonable service. It's the right thing for brothers to do. You know, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Now, the renewing of your mind. When Yahushua spoke about being born again, that's what he was talking about, because, you know, Yahushua glorified the children on various occasions because of the fact that, you know, he said, yo, you know, really, to come into the kingdom of heaven, you got to be like a child, meaning that, truly, you got to absorb, man, do as you're told, be born again, be renewed in the mind. To be renewed in the mind is to be born again. Put off the old man, the old habits, you know, and then really become a new man in Mashiach, which ultimately all of us brothers in this truth, in this day and age, have had to do, because we were, you know, Ghanaians, Nigerians, whatever the hell have you, but we put that all aside and came to the true realization that we're Israelites, Judites, Benjamites, Levites, etc. And how did we come to that? Through faith, man. Faith being the vital ingredient, you know. The Spirit, Romans 8:16, the Spirit beareth witness with our spirit. And we understand through faith that, hey, man, the prophecies apply to us, man. The blessings apply to us. But ultimately speaking, it's not just about receiving the blessings, and it's not just about the fact that the history applies to us. There's also the now, man, you know, which is the works. Because faith without works is dead, because the scriptures say it. So it's important, man, to literally be out here pushing this doctrine. You know, you read through Ezekiel, the 2nd chapter, the 3rd chapter. You read regarding Jeremiah. You read Isaiah, the 58th chapter, man. You know, all of the great prophets. You read Isaiah, the 30th chapter. You know, all of the great prophets, man, were sent out. You read the book of Jonah. The prophets were sent out to prophesy unto Israel, man. You read about Moses, man, regarding the Exodus in Egypt. All of the great prophets, man, were sent out to prophesy against great empires, you know. Prophets of old, as the scripture says, prophesied against great kingdoms of war, pestilence, you know. Hey, you got to understand that this is the Lord's program, man. This is the Lord's movie, and He's created characters for different roles. And ultimately speaking, we got to play the role that we've been given. You can't turn around to the Lord and tell Him you ain't going to be a prophet if He's ordained you to be a prophet, man. Look at all the men that told... hey, Jonah tried to flee, man, when the Lord said go to Nineveh. The Lord got him cast into the ocean, yeah, and had a fish swallow him up and spit him back out on dry land, man. You got to understand that the Lord, His say really is the final say, man. And if He's going to direct your path, He's going to direct your path. You just got to have faith. That's the main thing. Faith pleases the Lord, man. Because when you can turn around and say, yo, Lord, you know, I know you're in control of the situation. And whatever happens is going to happen according to your watch. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai appreciates and respects that glorification. You read Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, and the 13th verse, it says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Yeah? Plain to the point, the whole duty of man is to fear Yahweh Hashem Yahushai and keep His sayings, man. Keep the doings, keep keep within the confines, I'll say, of the scriptures, man. You know, always have the mentality of what would Yahushai do. That's the mentality you got to have. Glorify the Lord in all of thy ways, man. Everything you do should be to the glorification of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Now, in the world that we live in, this wicked-ass society, if you live that kind of lifestyle, of course you're going to have obstacles. Of course people are going to come against you. People are not going to like you. But hey, man, you got to bear your cross. What did Yahushua preach, man? Bearing the cross. You read the book of Matthew, the 5th chapter. It goes all into that, man. You know, when men shall revile you, hate you, cast you out of their company, say all manner of evil against you for Yahushua's sake, man. You're going to be blessed for it, man. you know. So fuck it. So what if the world ain't down with your cause, man? The Lord's got your corner, man, and that's the most important thing. You got to be out here really on the spirit of, hey, man, Romans 3:3. Well, what if some did not believe, man? Let every man be true and Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Let every man be a liar, so like your and Yahweh Hashem Yahushai be true, you know? Because the Lord made this whole society. The Lord created us. This tells you in Proverbs 16:4 that the Lord has created all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. So you got to understand that really, even the scoffers are the property of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and they've been created for the sole purpose of scoffing, to test your faith, but ultimately to then be destroyed at the latter end anyway. You know, no one's going to escape. So really and truly, man, you gotta keep your fire burning. You gotta not have the mentality of the Lord's in control of everything, man. Both the left and the right hand side. And the Lord is gonna chastise you. The Lord's gonna test you. The scripture saith that the Lord chastiseth them that he loveth. Why? Because through the bitterness, the bitter affliction, your spirit, your soul is made better. You know? And that's the truth. Yahushua is the perfect example of that. All of the great men in the scriptures went through great afflictions, man. Look at the Apostle Paul. In his writings, he talks about, you know, being shipwrecked and being amongst false brethren. He had men after him ready to kill him. But look at the levels that the Apostle Paul got on because of all the tribulation that he went through. That's why you got to understand that, yes, you know, it's not an easy path. But ultimately speaking, we're going to be rewarded greatly, man. Rewarded greatly. 1 Peter 4:1. For as much then as Mashiach has suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. For he has suffered in the flesh. For he that has suffered in the flesh hath ceased from sin. You see, because when you suffer in the flesh, man, it gets you more spiritual. That's why fasting is important as well as prayer, man, because it gets you in that spiritual mind state of to flee in Babylon in the spirit, you know. Hey, that he should no longer live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lust of men, but to the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. See, when you got that mentality of, yo, you know, the Lord's program is important, man. The way of the Lord is important. Hey, man, you got to understand, man. You know, everything out here is temporal. The Lord is going to destroy this place. You got to maintain the faith. Proverbs 3:5, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thy own understanding. Know that the Lord controls both sides of the coin. Yeah? And really and truly, hey, the wickedness in this society is going to come to a halt very, very, very abruptly and very soon. You got to know that the Lord is not the slack concerning his promises. He said he's going to destroy Babylon. He really will destroy this wicked ass harlot. You know, he said he's going to restore Israel. You can read all about it in Isaiah 45. 17th chapter, you know, 17th verse, like you know, Deuteronomy 7:6 is ultimately going to come back into fashion real quick, you know. Psalms 147, you know, Israel's going to be beautified again. But really and truly, before we get into that kingdom, you're going to have to go through hell. So, you know, I don't want to ramble too much and I'm going to cut it short in a minute, but what I'm trying to get at is, brothers, you got to maintain the faith, man. Don't get weak, because really and truly, it's not supposed to be easy. We're supposed to be going through hell. You're supposed to be catching L's. You're supposed to have haters, so to speak. You're supposed to have your family against you. You're supposed to catch ailments. Why? Because the great men of old did, man. And like Yahushua, he was a man acquainted with grief when he was on the earth. Yeah? But he's the most highest only begotten son. But guess what? He came down on the earth and he was acquainted with grief. He was wounded beyond recognition, the scripture tells you. In the kingdom, he's going to put on that old body and all Israel's going to mourn, man, for the hell that Yahushua caught, you know, under the Romans for our sake, you know. You got to understand that with this truth, man, comes great sacrifice. That's why 1 Peter 4 says, Beloved, thinking not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. So don't think that you're going to come into this truth, learn you're an Israelite, and it's all going to be peaches and cream, man. You know, hey, man. You know, the prophet spoke about the Ezekiel, man. He ate the roll. You know, he ate the whole roll, the sweet and the bitter. You know, he said it was in his mouth sweet, but in his stomach bitter. Yeah, because you know, you come into this truth, you learn you're the princes of the power. You know, you learn you're going to be kings in the building soon. Not yet, and it's glorious, man. But then you learn, yo, you're going to have to go through hell. You're going to have to go through the time of Jacob's trouble. You're going to have the so-called white man on your back. yeah, until Yahweh Shai returns, man. And then you realize, yo, man, this is not a light thing. The Lord is going to redeem his men. But don't, like, it's not going to come easy, man. The righteous shall scarcely be saved, you know. So it says, beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. You're going to go through hell in this truth. But have the mentality of Sirach, the 2nd chapter, man. You know, be joyful when thou art brought to a lower state, you know. Hey, rejoice, man, when you catch hell. Have the mentality of the apostles in Acts the 5th chapter, around about the 29th verse, when Peter and them left rejoicing because they were scourged by the council for Yahweh Shai's sake, and they were counted worthy to suffer shame for the Lord, because they knew that they were building up them racks in that spiritual bank account, man. Yeah, it says, but rejoice, you know, in as much as you are partakers of the sufferings that Mashiach, so like you are partakers of Mashiach's sufferings, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may also be glad with exceeding joy. Because we're going to be rewarded, Yahweh Shem Yahushua Ra'azah, we endure unto the end. If ye be reproached for the name of Mashiach, happy are ye, for the spirit of glory and of the Most High resteth upon you, and their part he is evil, and on their part he is evil spoken of, but on your part he is glorified. You know, that's the beautiful thing. Yeah, that is the beautiful thing. You know, First Peter is a beautiful book. You can go all into that, man. You know, it's a good book to read. Just in the interest of time, I'm going to read one more scripture and then wrap it up, because I feel the point has been made. Revelations, the 2nd chapter, and then I'm going to start from verse 25. But that which ye have already, hold fast till I come, the words of Yahweh Shai, hence written and read. And he that overcometh and keepeth my work unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule over them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I have received of my Father. Yahweh Shai is going to make the elect, the 144,000, the 1/3 underneath them, joint rulers, man. And I will give him the morning star. You know, the Lord's going to give his elect really all that their hearts could desire, man, in righteousness in the kingdom, man. But we got to earn it, man. You know, with great power comes great responsibility, man. That's a real quote, you know. That's a, you know, got that from a movie and that, but hey, that's spiritual. That's a real spiritual quote. You got to understand, man, that the Lord, man, requires greatness of us, man, because he's gonna bestow us kings and priests, a nation of kings and priests. We're literally gonna govern the earth, and in order to fully understand and appreciate righteousness, we gotta fully understand wickedness, man. Which is why we're suffering out here in this kingdom. But the Lord's gonna redeem us, man. You know, hey, man. I have not seen nor ear heard the things which Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai have in store for them that trust in him, man. Just keep the faith. Stay faithful, stay fighting, man, and the Lord's gonna guide our steps. I mean, you know, I'm gonna cut it there. I hope brothers, you know, are exhorted by this lesson. And Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Ra'azah, we all see each other in the kingdom, man. You know, even prior to that, getting them crowns, Lord willing, like the vision Ezra saw. You know, I'm gonna leave it there. Shalom Akim. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Barakah Kwam Yashala. Stay strong. Shalom.